Hey y'all, welcome back to the Lit Lair. Today we are talking about love in the time of serial killers. Let's dive in. So first of all, this cover is one of the most intriguing covers that I've seen in a really long time. Throw in the fact that on the back there is an endorsement quote by one of my favorite authors, Sarah Hogle, and I knew that I had to read this book. PhD candidate Phoebe Walsh has always been obsessed with true crime. She's even analyzing the genre in her dissertation, if she can manage to finish writing it. It's hard to find the time while she spends the summer in Florida cleaning out her childhood home, dealing with her obnoxiously good-natured younger brother, and grappling with the complicated feelings of mourning a father she hadn't had a relationship with for years. It doesn't help that she's low-key convinced that her new neighbor, Sam Dennings, is a serial killer. So I think first of all, the problem with an unbelievable cover and book jacket like this is that it's going to be really hard for the book to live up to the expectations. And unfortunately, this book just did not live up to those expectations for me. Like, there are moments of brilliance with Phoebe's droll, sarcastic narration and unexpected laughs where at times where she would say something super quirky and funny and unexpected and I would laugh, but there was a lot that I did not like about it. You know, the expectation I think with the cover and the blurb is that this is going to be some really fun, like almost genre bending rom-com where you get this mix of romantic comedy, but you get a little bit of like domestic thriller or something like that mixed in there, which sounds amazing. I think is why so many people wanted to read this and were so excited about it. But it's not that fun, to be honest. And this whole idea of her neighbor being the serial killer, which we know he's going to be the love interest too, obviously, it like dissipates within the first 25 pages. It's such a letdown because you kind of think that this is going to be this kind of mysterious thing where that whole theory is kind of out the window. And then it's a pretty straightforward romance or attempt at romantic comedy, I guess. There's also a lot of like social and political views thrown in here that's a bit off-putting. I mean, dude, I do not want to read about that stuff when I'm reading my romantic comedy. Like, if I wanted to be reminded of the world's problems, I'd just go on Twitter, you know? And even if you agree with her, it's like, still, you don't want to be reminded of that stuff while you're reading this. Like, for me, reading a lot of times is an escape and something where I can kind of forget about the world and all of its troubles for a while or whatever. But if you want to say that stuff, just like go to Twitter and write it or something. It's enough to where it's distracting. It also takes a long time for this character arc to happen. And I get that, hurt people and she's got things in her past and stuff. And the problem is she has all of these incredible, vulnerable, well-meaning people who are laid bare before her and just there kind of pouring their hearts out to her and being completely open and genuine. And she's saying things like that she's tuning them out and not really listening to them and stuff like that. I just didn't like that. I get that her character has to develop, but I didn't like the almost flippant way she treated these people in her life. That's not something that you come by a lot in life, these friends and people who care about you and don't want to change you at all, love you just as you are. That's what she has. Not just one, but multiple people like this. And so, I don't know. I had a hard time with the way she treated them sometimes. And then okay, and Sam, the guy, the love interest. Okay, y'all, this is completely shallow and like superficial, but hey, I gotta just be real. I did not like Sam that much, and I think a lot of it had to do with just how specific she was about how tall he was. It says in the book that he's 5'9", and like, look, there's nothing wrong with being 5'9", because you know what? That's how tall I am. As a tall girl, I don't really want to read about a guy who's my height, and I just did not find him attractive. I thought he was really boring and bland. Sorry to be so harsh, but I mean, that's just the way it was. There was no edge to him whatsoever. It was hard for me to get excited about the love story aspect of it, because every time she talked about like how hot he was or whatever, how gorgeous he was, I was thinking, yeah, but he's 5'9". And again, that's horrible and superficial, and I know. But I'm a tall girl. And just a little side note, guess how tall the protagonist in my book is? What do you think? Huh? She's 5'11". I know. I mean, taller than me. Like, hey, I just went for it. You know what I'm like? Forget this. She's exactly 5 foot. Or, whatever. Like, okay, but I digress. Okay, let's get back to it. In this genre, I've read lots of open door bedroom scenes, and if they're well written and not too cringy, like, go for it. That's whatever. But yikes. I mean, it was like the narrative voice kind of went out the window, and it's more like this clinical list almost of checked boxes, like, aching nipples. Check. And it was just really cringe, I thought. I did not like them at all. I did not think that they were sexy in any way. Do the words aching nipples really need to be written that often? I don't think so. So the good stuff. The most intriguing part is when Phoebe is talking about her dissertation, when she's actually writing this paper for her PhD and she's geeking out on all this serial killer stuff. That is the most intriguing part by a million miles. What I found myself as a reader saying was, let me just read your dissertation, okay? I just want to read that 180-page paper that you're working on, and I don't really care about this like fictitious narrative over your life. Just let me keep reading this, because she would be riffing on this like all these cases and talking about Helter Skelter and In Cold Blood, and it was like fascinating because of course it is, right? I think in that way, Alicia Thompson, the author, hit upon something in our pop culture right now that is something special. We are consumed by these cases and these minds who could do these things, and all these true crime podcasts and things like that that are out there that are just so popular right now. So I think in that way, it was brilliant. She was genius, and it was a great marketing strategy to kind of market this book as possible true crime kind of love story. And honestly, the other thing I like about the book is I really like how she kind of went all in on this heroine. She didn't make any apologies. She's droll, sarcastic, pessimistic, mean even sometimes. She's overweight and owns it. She doesn't try to change her, and she goes all in on this. And I kind of like that because there's never this apologetic side to her at all. And so she goes all in and makes her unlikable at times. You know, I kind of admire that because so often we're told to make our main character more likable. We're told she needs to be more like this sort of every woman, average girl kind of character in order for the audience to relate to her. Alicia Thompson didn't do that at all. And I found that actually pretty refreshing, and I admire her for that. She did kind of go all in on this character, never back down or apologize or try to make her any different, and I thought that was pretty brave and pretty cool, honestly. Overall, I think that the book fell short of expectations, and I think that that was true for a lot of people maybe, but it was definitely true for me. Like, I did not like this as much as I was hoping to, and like I said, the most interesting part by a million miles is the true crime part where she's writing this dissertation, and I think if she had leaned in even more into that, then I would have liked it more. That was Love in the Time of Serial Killers, y'all. Y'all subscribe to the Lit Lair, and we'll see you next time.